Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we're taking a look at a cult favorite as we take a look at Big Trouble in Little China. And if you are enjoying these videos, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified with each new episode. Now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. So like I said, today we're covering Big Trouble in Little China. This movie was released on July 2nd, 1986. It was directed by John Carpenter. It was written by Gary Goldman and David Z. Weinstein. It was produced and distributed by 20th Century Fox. The budget for this movie was $19 million, and it did a box office return of $11.1 million. But let's take a look at the backstory. So the first version of the script was actually written by Gary Goldman and David Z. Weinstein, and this was the goal was that they were inspired by a new generation of martial arts films. They would actually submit their script to Taft Entertainment in the summer of 1982. Taft would end up purchasing the script and ask for a rewrite, but they were still not satisfied after numerous attempts. 20th Century Fox was also interested in this property, but they wanted another rewrite, which Goldman refused. Fox would still purchase the script, but remove the writers from the project and insist of a rewrite on their own. Fox would bring in a new screenwriter, W.D. Richter, to rewrite the script, as they felt the fantasy elements and the Western elements did not gel together. So they kind of wanted a readaptation where they would kind of flow seamlessly between the two. Richter would change and modernize everything except for the Lopan storyline. And Fox actually wanted to deny Goldman and Weinstein writing credit since so much had changed since their original script. In March of 1986, the Writers Guild actually stepped in and determined that Goldman and Weinstein would get the story credit and Richter would get an adaptation credit. In terms of some potential casting, Carpenter was offered the project in 1985, and he had actually approached Jack Nicholson, Clint Eastwood for the role of Jack. Kurt Russell was actually interested as well after some heavy convincing from Carpenter. So Jack Nicholson and Clint Eastwood both turned it down, and so Carpenter went after Kurt Russell, and Kurt had to be heavily convinced to be in this movie. After he agreed to accept the role, Kurt Russell actually went to the weight room and lifted weights and ran for 2 months straight prior to the filming to prepare for the heavy action sequences. The studio actually wanted to cast a rock star instead of Kim Cattrall because of her. Prior to this, Kim Cattrall was known for being in raunchy kind of comedy movies, but instead Kim Cattrall got the part. Carpenter was only actually given 10 weeks of pre-production as they wanted the film completed for the summer, as well as they wanted the movie to be released before Eddie Murphy's The Golden Child, which had a similar storyline in it as well. Exterior shots were filmed in Chinatown, while the majority of the film itself was filmed at the Fox lot in Los Angeles. Like I said, the film had to be shot in 15 weeks to make its July 86 film date, and the special effects of the film was actually completed by Boss Film Studios with a $2 million budget, which said was barely adequate to get the movie ready and the movie shot. So in terms of the cast, so we have Kurt Russell, who plays Jack Burton, Kim Cattrall, who plays Gracie Law, Dennis Dune, who plays Wang Chi, James Hong, who plays David Lopan, Victor Wong, who plays Egg Shin, Kate Burton, who plays Margot Litzenberger, and Donald Lee, who plays Eddie Lee. In terms of the plot, when trucker Jack Burton agreed to take his friend Wang Chi to pick up his fiancée at the airport, he never expected to get involved in a supernatural battle between good and evil. Wang's fiancée has emerald green eyes, which makes him a perfect target for an immortal sorcerer named Lo Pan and his three invincible cronies. Now Jack must save Wang's fiancée from Lo Pan and his henchmen and win back his stolen truck. but how can he defeat an enemy that has no body? So this movie has an incredible legacy. The movie did not do well. Kurt Russell and David Carpenter have both stated that they felt that Fox had no idea how to market this movie because it was a mixture of Eastern culture and Western culture. And they actually added the beginning scene of the movie because the studio insisted that they have a scene that insisted that Kurt Russell was actually the hero of the picture, even though he's more of a side character, which actually makes this movie a lot more interesting. So like I said, the movie had a very disappointing box office run. The other thing that was going against it as well is the movie Aliens was actually released 16 days earlier, and that was such a phenomenal hit that it kind of blocked out the sun in terms of other movies. However, it went on to have a cult favorite status. In 1986, a video game was released by Electronic DreamWorks Software for the ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, and the Amstrad CPC. A comic book adaptation would be released years later by Boom Studios on February 27, 2014. They would also do a crossover series with Jack Burton and the character Snake Plissken, who is another character that Kurt Russell played in Escape from New York. In February of 2015, Funko would release reaction and pop final figures from the movie. And also in June of 2015, it was announced that Dwayne Johnson had bought the screen rights and was planning on developing a kind of a reboot of the movie. And Johnson would obviously be the lead. In August of 2018, it was actually further announced that the movie would actually be a sequel, not a remake. And on July 15, 2018, Boom Studios partnered with Everything Epic and Flipside to create a board game based on the game. And finally, in August of 2016, Upper Deck released Legendary Big Trouble in Little China deck building game. So would I recommend the movie? I think this movie is interesting because it combines that Eastern cinema with the Western cinema. You have the Eastern kind of mythical fantasy film mixed with the Western comedy of Kurt Russell and Kim Cattrall. I also like that it's not traditional storyline in terms of Kurt Russell is not necessarily the big action hero, which was normally at the time. He's more of kind of like along for the ride, yet he's able to help out here and there. I also like the special effects for the movie. I think they don't hold up to now, but I think it was very revolutionary for the time, and it kind of was something different than the regular 80s movie. So yeah, I definitely recommend this one. It's one that I think everyone should check out. It is more of an adult movie, so fair with the kids, kind of fair warning. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's especially for Kurt Russell alone, he makes it kind of worthwhile. So thank you so much for joining us here on another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. I would love for anyone to leave a comment below on what they think of Big Trouble in Little China. And as we look forward to our next episode, we're going to check out a Disney Channel original movie as we check out the original Cheetah Girls. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.